Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Vinny, Rod, and of course, Chris King. Now, I'm recording this a little bit after because we are going to talk about the Royal Rumble that happened this past weekend. Audio is not the greatest because there was a lot going on, and well, someone's microphone was not set up, and I do apologize for that. But I do want to say there's a lot to talk about on next week's show as well, including CM Punk. He is out of WrestleMania. And we're going to talk a little bit about Larry David because, yeah, we know.
The Rumble is still the greatest spectacle in all of sports entertainment.
It is, it is Royal Rumble, Rod. It's amazing. You said in the pre-show banter, it should be a holiday. I agree as well. Rod, would you please tell us what you're hot about tonight?
I guess I'm hot about tonight that I need to inform all of our faithful Morgan, listeners, all of our Yeah We Know listeners, all of our wrestling universe fans out there that I have a new favorite wrestler. My guy Seth Rollins goes down with a knee injury, and the WWE presents me with a new favorite wrestler, my guy, Mr. Charlotte Flair himself, Andrade, showing up in the Royal Rumble, putting in a good 25 minutes, looking like $1 million, pulling off a couple of good moves, getting involved with Santos Escobar, the hottest luchador in the WWE at this moment right now. Jimmy, I'm excited about Andrade, and that's how I was going to lead this podcast with Andrade, right? You knew when you open this thing up with all the things that happen tonight, you're going to throw to me and I'm going to go Andrade.
Well, of course, because that is your gimmick and you live your gimmick. Speaking of gimmicks, Yeah We Know podcast, for those of you listening or watching for the first time, because it is a huge Royal Rumble podcast that we have here. We'd just like to say thank you very much for listening. We do know that wrestling, yes, it is scripted. Yeah, we know. We are a lot of 40-year-olds or 70-year-olds, depending on which one we're talking to here. Yeah, we know. We're in our basements. Yeah, we know. But guess what? It's fun. And yeah, we know. Let's start off the night. We're going to start off the night at the very end of the night because Cody Rhodes can finish his story. Vinny, first of all, Vinny, what did you think of the show? I know you've watched a ton of them. Talk to me a little bit about Cody Rhodes finally getting his much-deserved second Royal Rumble win.
Well, forget that first. I didn't know I needed to have a hot tag in the Royal Rumble.
Hot tags and Royal Rumbles are a little bit different. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Hot tag is a Royal Rumble staple. R-Truth living up to his gimmick. He appeared in 2 Royal Rumbles. Very, very good show there. But Cody Rhodes does get the win. I did not think that was going to happen. I predicted it happening. Predicted him throwing somebody else out. I just, in my heart of hearts, I really thought they were going to go with The Rock and Roman Reigns. Rod, they went with Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble.
Jimmy, if only there was somebody that you did a weekly wrestling podcast with who has told you for weeks now that Cody Rhodes was going to go back to back and win the Royal Rumble. Oh, wait a minute. Let me pat myself on the back. I believe that was me. I told you all Cody Rhodes was going to win the Royal Rumble. He won the Royal Rumble. He came in at 30 last year. He came in at 15 this year. And I have a sneaky feeling Cody Rhodes is going to come in at number 1 last year because there's a very good chance he does not finish the story this year at WrestleMania. Ooh. So we've already set up a great long-term story with our guy, the American Nightmare. Love to see Cody win. Knew he was going to win. I'm happy.
So in our family little drawing that we do every year for the Royal Rumble, guess who did have number 15 in the men's Royal Rumble match? Of course I did. I live my gimmick. Chris King, I know you had Dominic winning the Royal Rumble. Not really sure why you picked him. What'd you think of the finish there?
Well, first off, you're wrong. I picked Tom and Nick to win the Royal Rumble, not whoever you were talking to. Let me ask you this, Jim, because you are the Cody fan, all right? Cody is going to face Roman at WrestleMania. Apparently, from what you guys are telling me, they're not going to let him win. It's going to keep going to at least SummerSlam so he can break Hogan's record. What does Cody do then?
All right. Well, first of all, for those of you listening, if you have any comments, questions, or just reactions at all to the Royal Rumble, throw it in the chat. We will get to you as soon as possible. We really appreciate it on this terrific night. And Chris, to answer your question, the fact that they have Cody Rhodes going to the main event of WrestleMania, he's going to win this match this year. I 100% think that's happening. Vinny, what do you think? Is Cody Rhodes going to win the main event at WrestleMania finally? We know what Rod thinks, and Rod will not talk about it yet. He will be quiet and sit there. I'm the producer and host right now.
There are still 70 days left until WrestleMania. Who the hell? Who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows what's going to happen, huh?
I don't trust WWE to actually follow through with having Cody finish the story, but now that somebody's not there anymore, maybe things will be different. But
all right,
I'm hopeful.
Since Triple H actually does have long-term storytelling capabilities, hopefully he's going to be able to do this. But Rod, you think it's even going to be longer-term storytelling capabilities? Please, for the love of Pete, don't have Cody Rhodes lose. Rod, come on.
Jimmy, listen, I told you guys Cody was going to win the Royal Rumble, and I told you guys weeks ago that Roman was going to win at WrestleMania, and we are going to continue to roll down the road here, okay? Like, you guys need to start figuring out what self-help seminars you may go to, what new hobbies you may pick up, whatever things you guys need to do to emotionally deal with the fact that Cody is not going to finish his story at WrestleMania. You need to start gathering yourself together and do, because it's absolutely not happening, okay? It's absolutely not happening. We are going to roll with Cody Rhodes being the babyface running up the hill, Sisyphus, trying to continuously push that rock up the hill, and it falls back, and he pushes it again, and it falls back, and he pushes it again for a whole nother year. All right, Jim, just get ready for it. You're not going to get a happy ending with Cody at WrestleMania. It's not happening.
3 in a row. Why not? Chris, I don't know what Rod was referencing there, because this is a smart podcast. He is the smart one of the group. The only thing, Chris, I don't think this can ever happen, but the only way that Cody doesn't win the main event at WrestleMania is if, like, somebody in a hoodie that, the hood's over comes out and interferes at the end of the match. But that could never happen, right?
I mean, that always happens. It is a bloodline match. Roman Reigns can't win a clean match. We know that. And I'm going to double down here. This makes me care less about Roman Reigns and his belt, because I kind of feel the same as Rod does, that they're not going to give it to Cody. They're going to continue pushing this Roman Reigns greatest of all time gimmick that I don't care about anymore.
Viewers, throw it in the chat. Do you think Cody Rhodes is winning at WrestleMania or not? And unless you don't think he's winning, then don't put any. No, definitely put it in the
Chris
chat.
was just sort of putting words in my mouth there. Like, Chris was just making me feel one sort of way that I don't feel. All right, just because Chris and I agree on like the nuts and bolts picks of it all doesn't mean that I agree with what Chris said there. All right, I love Roman Reigns. I'm wearing an Acknowledge Me sweatshirt right now. All right, there were numerous times in the evening where I stood in my living room with my wife and my son and my buddy Larry. They're all sitting around the couch booing Roman Reigns, and I stood up and threw a 1 in the air, all right? Because this man is a champion. He is a wrestling entertainer, a sports entertainer supreme, and we should give him his flowers. That match was not great, but Roman Reigns continues to reign supreme, and I think that's what we should walk away with this Rumble at, Jimmy, is that it's about Roman Reigns. Forget about Cody. Forget about CM Punk. Forget about Jade Cargill, who I bet we get to. This Royal Rumble ends up being about Roman Reigns, because you should ultimately acknowledge him.
All right, so we had a very good men's Royal Rumble. We can kind of talk a little bit about it. I think Jey Uso had a good showing. As soon as Jey came out, you kind of thought Jimmy was going to be number 2. Jackson Jey, how you doing back there, buddy? All right, see you later. Jimmy and Jey starting out the yeet, no yeet, if you will, which I think is one of the stupidest things ever. Andrade at 4, Rod, I know you're really excited about that. Braun Breaker came out, and I believe I picked Braun Breaker coming out. But the thing, Rod, is that he's a heel in NXT, and he came out in his face gear, and the people really didn't know what to do at the beginning.
They didn't know what to do at the beginning, Jimmy, but by the end of it, they were like, you know what I think? Braun Breaker is a badass. That's what they thought by the end of it. And I think that one little, like, maybe like C-level story, if we're laying out an outline about what this Royal Rumble was, we have an A, we have a B, and we have a C. And what the C might be is we elevated a couple of NXT people,
Yep.
right? We
Yep.
bring a couple of
Yes.
people in and we made them seem like a big deal. And that is something that you want to do on the Royal Rumble. Again, we'll get to it in the Women's Rumble, but I think that Braun Breaker was somebody who ended up coming out good in this Royal Rumble. I think that Carmelo Hayes did a couple of things that were good for him in this Royal Rumble. And I think that ultimately, if you're the WWE, you want to have the Royal Rumble make people. And we'll also get to number 30, Jim, but chef's kiss on number 30. I never would have thought that that was a great number 30, but when number 30 came out, that was a great number 30.
Vinny, Pat McAfee came out to thunderous applause in the Royal Rumble as a commentator, but then he also came up number 22 overall. How do you think that went over in your mind there, bud?
It was terrible.
Terrible.
It was. I don't know if he's like under contract or something that he can't wrestle or something, but that was just.
Well, he was not touched. That is true. I think that's a good point, Chris King. To me, this wasn't the Pat McAfee that we know. He has essentially main evented WrestleManias before. He has done so much in the ring. Why would he be scared of Omos other than the fact that it's Omos?
I mean, isn't that enough? You walk into a ring and there's Braun Breaker.
I'm sitting in my basement. I agree. Okay.
There's Braun Breaker, and then there's Omos. Braun
No,
Breaker.
No. Hold on. Wait a minute. Jimmy, let me come in here from a different angle. I'm going to come in here hot at this point. This is absolute garbage. You're going to waste an entrant in the Royal Rumble on Pat McAfee just walking up the stairs and not getting in the ring. You could have had an Omos in there. You could have had a Chad Gable in there. Okay. You could have had a Xavier Woods in there. You know what I mean? There's numerous people. We could have came out there. Could have been a Ciampa, Jimmy. Do we want to talk about a DIY?
Oh, Ciampa?
You could have had a Pete Dunne, who you just made a huge deal about bringing out on SmackDown or Raw or whichever damn show that he fights on, because the brand split doesn't matter. But you made a big deal about him coming out as Pete Dunne, and he can't be in the Rumble. But you have Pat McAfee come out, step up on the stairs, get up on the ropes, act like he's getting in. Then he's not. Then he acts like he's getting in. Then he's not. And then he steps out. It's a complete waste of time, Jimmy. There's numerous other WWE superstars that we still have under contract that we pay money to fight wrestling matches in rings with the people that sit in seats. And we did that with Pat McAfee. As much as I love Pat McAfee, even though some of the things he talks about on the show are garbage, but that's not really the forum for this right now. I didn't like that.
Is there a possibility that someone didn't make it, didn't show up, they didn't have somebody fill that slot right away, and then they just threw it to Pat out of the blue?
So in that case, no, there wouldn't be any case. That is definitely something that is structured. It's not something he would just be told in his ear, Chris. I think that's a good question, very good question, but that's not something that would happen.
Like 8 dudes who were there at the Royal Rumble who could have stepped in, right? Like, Jim, let's just be honest. That's how every show goes off. There's like 8, like Drew Gulak's back there. Like, you could have put him out there other than Pat McAfee. Like, let's just be honest about that.
Yeah, I think like a Pete Dunne would have been kind of cool out there to get that reaction and keep going. I think that's a really good call there. Even a Gargano or a Ciampa, anyone else just to come out and even just spend the same amount of time in the ring, honestly, would have been okay. Ricochet, I want to give a shout out to Ricochet too, because he's in the final few a couple times now in the Royal Rumble, but he's such an athlete. He did a one-handed back flip or one-footed back flip, over the top rope. Not bad there. Gunther, another very, very good showing. And I'm assuming a couple things might have gotten changed with Gunther, Chris, because there was a lot of rumors that Brock Lesnar would have been somebody to come in for that Royal Rumble. So that's probably not going to happen. And then Sami Zayn back at number 30. Sami Zayn. Gotta love Sami. So, Rod, I know you hate CM Punk. And by hate, I mean you really don't care about him. Did this Royal Rumble show you anything, or was it really not enough to show you what he could do?
Jimmy, you are a wonderful podcast host. One of the greatest decisions I ever made in my entire life was bringing you into this whole entrepreneurship. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say there.
No, we're an entrepreneur. There's no entrepreneurship here. We're an enterprise for sure.
You're very right. We don't make any money, so therefore that doesn't make it an entrepreneurship. But anyway, I noticed at a couple situations during tonight's events where, okay, I get it. All right. I get it. CM Punk is good. All right. There are numerous things that make up a good professional wrestler. And one of them is selling, right? And one of them is making the moves that you do seem like they actually matter. Seem like you're doing something that's technical. Seem like you're doing something that receives a blow on the other end. And CM Punk is absolutely very good at those things. Okay. I've only seen him wrestle a couple of matches. I've always made his, status be elevated because of his work behind a microphone. But seeing him in the ring and wrestling back and forth and delivering blows and delivering, the go to sleep, right? Is that what the big move that he does with the knees,
Yep.
right? Seeing him deliver all those things, I was like, okay, I get it. This man can and probably should main event big situations. But I did think to myself, Jimmy, when he's in the ring with Cody Rhodes, I was like, why should we ever care about anything that happens in the WWE if a man who literally was not on the roster until War Games in November and has not wrestled a match other than a house show in Madison Square Garden against Dominic Mysterio wins the Royal Rumble? Because Chris talks about it so often about he doesn't care about this for Roman Reigns and he doesn't care about that for Roman Reigns and this belt doesn't matter. But why does any of it matter if a man that we've never seen wrestle on TV, who's only been back for a matter of weeks, wins the Royal Rumble, Jimmy? I did have that thought during the match.
I do like that a lot, Rod. I think that's a very good point. Chris, did this change your mind at CM Punk at all? Do you have enough information now? Because I know you're a big info and background guy. Do you think CM Punk is someone who you can see going to WrestleMania and maybe facing a Seth Rollins?
Not yet, to be honest. It was, I appreciated the work he did in the ring. There was nothing that told me that he can't be a wrestler, but
Thanks.
it's hard for me to describe because,
I think he
to
can be a
me,
wrestler. He's fine.
he was no different than when Karrion Kross came into the Rumble. All right, that's about the level of interest I had for CM Punk because I don't know him. I've never seen him wrestle before. I don't know that backstory. I just don't. I'm a new fan.
That Karrion Kross talk, by the way.
Jimmy,
How
that is
dare
not
you.
good.
You're
Like, listen,
saying you
honestly,
were
Jimmy, let's
pumped like I
listen.
was.
Jimmy, wait a minute. Wait, we should stay here for a second. All right. Chris is our guy who's a little bit more of a newer fan, right? If he honestly thinks that CM Punk is on the same level as Karrion Kross, Jimmy, we're having some trouble telling a story. Are we or are we not?
I think they did a really good job in the pre-show. They had a kind of a backstage interview with CM Punk, literally behind the main stage. I thought that went really well. Vinny, you're someone who has watched, but CM Punk's been gone for a while. What did you think of CM Punk?
He definitely has some ring rust. So
Yeah, a little bit of ring rust for sure. He was hurt for a while. He wrestled for the past year in AEW, but then was hurt for quite some time. Yes.
Speaking of which, I like how the final two was AEW.
Final two, a little AEW alum. Sure, they were somewhere else before AEW, I think. But yeah, go ahead.
I think he's going to eventually wrestle Seth, and hopefully they'll give him some more matches so he can, prove to somebody like Chris who hasn't really seen him work. Where I've seen his work previously, and I know he can go. So
yeah, I think the good story here would be Punk getting on the mic on Monday saying, "Hey, I didn't have it because I was a step too slow. That's not going to happen again. I challenge whoever." Then Dominic Mysterio comes out and they wrestle
What's
again.
What's great about Punk coming on Monday Night Raw and admitting that he's a step too slow? What are you talking about? What are you trying to do for your guy here?
Then he's got to build himself up to then get to the point where he can take on a Seth Rollins.
It's ridiculous out of you,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
We'll
this
see.
is ridiculous. This is a whole lot of everybody go to Dairy Queen and get a Blizzard out of you. That's what this is. That's ridiculous.
Speaking of ridiculous, let's talk about that fatal four-way. 20-minute fatal four-way match. Roman Reigns' entrance was 7 minutes long. It was a third of the entire match. Actually, the entire entrances were probably around 20 minutes long, if you think about it. Nothing really big happened at all here. You had the exact same ending that you always do with Solo Sikoa coming out. LA Knight had.
What do you mean that
pretty
you
decent
always knew? Chris said Randy Orton was going to win. Don't just gel over it like this, all right? Don't just act like all of us knew this was going to happen. Chris came on here and told everybody Randy Orton was going to win, and he was dead wrong, and you should point that out, Jimmy.
I was getting there, but that's okay. So everyone knew it was going to win, and it just kind of ended. Obviously, AJ Styles took the pin. So then my question is, Chris King, how were you so wrong about the end of this match? He would have been better, but it's fine. So, Chris, how are you so wrong about this?
Because I'm apparently a newbie and I still root for who I want to win.
I do like that about you. I do.
I don't want Roman Reigns to win. I very rarely pick Roman Reigns to win. So I will continue to not pick Roman Reigns because I don't want to see him win. Just like I was wrong in the other match. I was like, don't want to root for Logan Paul, so I'm not going to pick him to win. All right. I still root for people who I want to win, and that's who I'm going to pick.
Everything wrong. That's great.
Hey, Chris. I've been feeling like that since 2014. Not wanting him to win, and he keeps winning, and it makes me mad.
I keep forgetting. Vinny is the original, the OG Roman Reigns hater. He's hated him for years. You don't even know, dude. You have no idea. Rod, did anything come out of this match that was anything for you?
I think the only thing that came out of this match is that we were 100% led to believe that AJ Styles is somebody who just like is probably not really ever going to have a run again, right? Like, I don't think we really want to like talk about this here, right? And I think all of us who love professional wrestling and love the history, right, and the circuit of it and the Bullet Club and all the things that AJ Styles has done and represented, the Boneyard match, but like this match sort of was the end of it for AJ Styles, right? Like all of us knew going into this match, AJ in his black pants was going to be the one laying on his back, getting pinned in this match. And he absolutely was the one laying on his back, getting pinned in this match. And so I don't know where we go with AJ here, right? Like we keep trying to keep up this facade that somehow him and the Good Brothers, right? Is that what they're referred to as?
Yeah.
Them and Michin, right? They still keep coming up to AJ every once in a while and he blows them off. So none of us care about them, right? Michin had a decent showing for herself in the Women's Rumble, I guess. Nobody cares about the brothers. So like, I sort of thought about this match about AJ Styles. I really did, right? Because I knew going into this that LA Knight is done, right? He's just done and over. I'm sorry about that. And I feel bad saying that, but he's just done and over. There's nowhere for him to go. He's not going to win that match. There's no feud for him to have after this match. You know what I mean? Randy Orton is made in a Hall of Famer, so he'll be fine. Wherever they move him to next will be great, and people will always buy it because people will chant Randy in a gym in Omaha or Topeka or Little Rock or wherever they go. So he'll be great, but AJ, over for you, and Roman, I need win. So that's what I thought, Jimmy.
Fair enough. Let's just move on because that really didn't have any value. Match that was very good and listen, Kevin Owens is my favorite wrestler. Okay. Love Kevin Owens. Love everything he does. You put him in with anybody, you're going to have a good match. You're going to have good heat. Had a good match with Logan Paul. Had the win. But then the ref, as Pat McAfee, who, by the way, the announcing was really good tonight. I really enjoyed it tonight a lot. Finally, the ref has 20/20 vision and sees the knucks on Owens. Terrific camera angle. Terrific way to get a crappy, sleazy win from Logan Paul that he can rub it in Kevin Owens' face. Chris, I loved it. Your thoughts?
I don't like that Logan Paul won by disqualification.
No one does.
But I mean, you got to give it to the production crew, right? They had the camera guy at the right angle at the right time, seeing the ref eyes lock onto his hand at just that moment. Like, it was great done. It was great TV. All right. Like, you can't lie
It
about
was,
that. That was
for
great
sure.
TV. So,
Jimmy,
yeah.
something we don't talk about on this podcast enough is they had the right referee in the ring there, okay? The referee is an essential part of professional wrestling at certain times, and in that match, they had the right referee in the ring because that was fabulous. That was fabulous because you got the feeling from Kevin Owens winning that match, and then it was taken away from you. I talk about it so often on this podcast about how that's the greatest feeling of professional wrestling. That's why we watch. We want it given to us, and then we want it taken away, and they did it famously in that match.
Vinny, I was standing in general, and I'm like, they're gonna do it. Thoughts.
So I love the ending. I thought it was a little bit different. To them to actually catch that, but the only thing I could think of right now is what if Kevin Dunn was still there? They would have zoomed in on the counting, and then right when he looked at the knuckles, then they would have panned to the
crowd going. So, Chris, Kevin Dunn is the former director. I don't know if we talked about him very much, but he left the company, and we have a new director. And you saw a lot of different camera angles than you're used to seeing, and they're going to do a lot more of that. The new director, I believe, came from where he did a lot of UFC or mixed martial arts, actually sports as well, because in sports, they don't play to the camera. In WWE, you always play to the camera. So I think we're going to see a lot of different things in there. So that's a good thing. Let's hit the Women's Royal Rumble match, and then we will sign off here. Women's Royal Rumble match, couple things that came out of it. Still not as crisp as the men's. Okay, there's a lot of people coming in and out. We have the TNA kind of interpromotional with the world champion Jordan Grace, who, by the way, looked fantastic and did a great job, I thought. So look for more of that to come in. Obviously, Naomi coming back was a pretty big thing. She, I believe,
pretty big. Wait a minute,
WWE
Jimmy.
now.
Pretty big. They needed her. Like, she was literally she was the round peg in the square hole. Like, if they didn't have Naomi, they had nothing in that thing. She was in there for over 45 minutes. I mean, like, we talk all the time about there's no storylines for the women. They literally bring somebody back that we haven't seen in a while to wrestle in the Rumble match for 45 minutes. What does that say about a Katana Chance, a Keegan Carter, whatever her name is? I'm not even sure if I said her name right. And Alba Fire. No, and Alba Fire's partner didn't even get in the Royal Rumble, but they needed Naomi to be in the Royal Rumble for over 45 minutes, Jimmy. I think we should stay on this for a second.
We can, but I think, though, we saw here, Rod, we have a lot of young talent that can come in. And there were 30 legitimate, wrestlers in this match. There wasn't any really old school person coming back, and I thought that was a good note. Okay, it really was. However, having a Naomi stay in there for such a long time and someone from another promotion being in there for a long time hurt a little bit. But I will say, and Vinny can vouch for me on this, when we picked our names, my daughter Izzy picked number 3, and I said that's a good number because that's going to be Bailey and she's going to win. It's why I do what I do. It's why I do what I do, Chris.
You're not wrong, Jimmy. You are the expert. I was definitely off. I had Becky. I thought she was going to win. I thought they were going to give her that. I had a little bit of hope that Bailey coming out so early was going to be her downfall. But again, I was proven wrong, just like every other match tonight.
So, Rod, Jade Cargill, a lot of talk about Jade Cargill, a lot, and then nothing. And then she comes out to a pretty big, because they didn't know her logo, but as soon as they saw who she was, she got a pretty big ovation. That is how you make a star, Rod. Put her in at 27. Don't give her too much time to mess up, and have her go against Nia Jax.
I think there's two things that I got to jump off of out of what you said there, Jimmy Jam. You're absolutely right about the fact that the music hit for her and it was not a reaction. I think that's a problem for the Women's Royal Rumble, okay? I think in the Men's Royal Rumble, the music hits and we know who it's going to be. In the Women's Royal Rumble, we do not. And I don't know if that's because we just don't show the women enough. I don't know if it's because they don't do distinctive enough theme music for them, but like I had a trouble every time music dropped for somebody in the Royal Rumble knowing who it was. But you're absolutely right about Jade Cargill. I apologize to you. I apologize to Chris. I apologize to Vinny. I apologize to all the people who listen to this podcast that I did not give you Jade Cargill as the surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, because this was the perfect way to make somebody that you made a huge deal out of the WWE signing back all these weeks ago when they did. She comes in, she wipes out Nia Jax, who all of us hate, but they've certainly made a big deal over the last couple of weeks. And then this chick comes into the ring looking like $1 million and wipes out the irresistible force. You're dead right, Jimmy. I don't love giving you credit on this podcast. I have to from time to time because you're the expert and I am not. But you're so right that they made a star tonight in the Rumble there.
Vinny, when she picked up Nia Jax like nothing, how was the reaction in the room?
The reaction in the room was shock. In my mind, I was like, Brandon Phillips is a lucky man.
Okay, her husband, yes, lucky man. Jackson, he just stares like, what is that? He goes, look at her abs. It's like, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, she is. She is built, and she's worked hard at it. She had to get some more seasoning in the ring. She probably still does. I wouldn't expect to see her in too many long matches. But
Jimmy, you're right. That's why the Rumble is fabulous, right? Like that's why the
Yes.
Rumble can make somebody like Jade Cargill. You said it yourself. She didn't have to be in there for a long time. She didn't have to show a whole lot of like counter punches. You know what I mean? Like she didn't have to show a whole lot of like, I can do this. And like everybody in the ring has to have their eyes only on me. You know what I mean? There were certain other things that could draw their attention away. So it was the perfect situation to make Jade Cargill. And like, Jimmy, you talk about it all the time. You used to be able to predict the moves that Vince would make to a T, but you give Triple H credit all the time. And I try to knock you down a peg every once in a while just because I think that's my job here on the podcast. But when Triple H does things like this, you have to then be like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing, man. Like he knows how to make somebody. He knows how to like tell a long-term story, because we could go any number of directions with Jade Cargill out of here. And it was chef's kiss.
She already looked like a star, but like, yeah, the Rumble definitely, they did a good job with her.
Okay, so if we want to continue with our gimmicks, Chris, you don't care about Jade Cargill, correct?
Listen, I can't sit here and lie and say I was not impressed when she threw Nia Jax over. All right, that was shock. And then you can't do nothing but feel that anticipation when it's her and Bianca standing toe to toe, eyeing each other up and down. Like you can see like a future feud there that will work really well, I think. So yeah, why wouldn't I be excited?
And let's talk about the winner. Let's talk about Bayley. You know, she has come so far in her career, and I know, Chris, you don't know as much, but it's awesome to see the character development, the in-ring work, just pay off at the end. Bayley gets a terrific win, throwing out everybody there at the very end with Morgan Stratton. I can't even. Becky Lynch, got thrown out. She was still there at the end. What a great win for Bayley. And now, Rod, we get to figure out who she picks for that championship match.
See, that's the thing that I love about Bayley winning, and ultimately why I landed on being okay with her being the winner of the Rumble, right? Is because it opens us up with so many opportunities at WrestleMania, right? There's no way where any one of us wants to come on this podcast right now and say that we know for certain what she's going to do at WrestleMania, and that's great. And Becky needs all the flowers. Bayley, excuse me. She needs all the flowers. Both of them. Well, maybe not Becky, because I think she was kind of not represented well in this, but Bayley deserves all the flowers. Good for her. Let's go. I could be convinced of a couple of different ways she could wrestle at WrestleMania, and I'd be excited with it.
A couple quick things too. When Indy Hartwell came out, my wife actually had her in the had number 6 in the draft. When she said that, she goes, "Well, my day's done." So she just threw that away there. Indy Hartwell is someone who always, I think, needed to be in NXT a little bit more. She still needs to get into her body. She's very, very tall. and Lanky kind of needs to get that motion down a little bit. So hopefully she gets the chance to do that more. But I'm going to give one of the MVPs to Chelsea Green. Unbelievable job in a Royal Rumble where you are there to put people over. You're there for a little comedy. She sold Chris extremely well, and I just think she did a great job.
No, she did. That was
No, she did not.
she did
No,
great
you're
work.
wrong. Actually, yeah.
She did great work, and I have to say that even though I'm a fan. But let me tell you something, guys. All right, there was only one winner at tonight's Royal Rumble, okay? And it's not Bailey, it's not Roman, it's not Logan Paul, and it's not Cody Rhodes. All right, it's R-Truth. That is the one and only true winner of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Wait, there are women in there?
Yeah. I know these women in here. I think that R-Truth has done a terrific job, and you know it's funny. Like, do you hope at some point he gets in on the joke, or do you just hope this goes on forever, Rod?
No, I hope it goes on forever. I really absolutely hope it goes on forever. And I think that what R-Truth represents, and I don't think enough of us understand, is that he is an absolute great distraction. Okay. Because I think what just happened with Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble is we can live in a world now where The Rock doesn't actually show up at WrestleMania. Okay. I think that's actually a world we can live in right now.
I think
So
that
he
is.
showed
I
up.
think that's a world.
He showed up and he said about the bar, and he said about should I sit at the head of the table and the whole 9 yards. I understand that he did that, okay? But now that Cody Rhodes won, we have a 100% wrapped up, sold, bottom line main event, Cody Roman to WrestleMania. Finish the story. We don't need The Rock. So people who love Dwayne as much as I do and as much as everyone else does, Moana fans, okay, Jungle Cruise fans, all right, Jumanji fans like Chris
That's
over
right.
here is, you know what I mean? They all need to maybe brace themselves for the fact that the guy who starred in the movie Snitch is maybe not going to show up at WrestleMania, okay?
Chris, do you think we need Rock at WrestleMania? I saw that little twitch you get there, that old man twitch.
Listen, I am a fan of Dwayne Johnson, and I think that the WWE needs more of him if they want to get past
Chris
the.
does nothing if not love the Tooth Fairy, Jimmy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
pro Tooth Fairy.
if we get more R-Truth, then we don't need The Rock.
See, distraction. Like I just said, Chris literally just proved my point right there. We threw out a discussion about Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, and Chris decided to sidestep it and talk about R-Truth.
So that was the Royal Rumble recap here on the Yeah We Know podcast. And we've got another great week coming up. We've got Yeah We Know on Tuesday. We'll recap Raw, where we're going to see a lot more. We've got a big event at 5 a.m. for Elimination Chamber coming up. We're not going to do a live recap of that. I'm not going to lie. That's not going to happen. But we've got that coming up. Then obviously we're going to have a Super Bowl matchup that we will talk about on Balls and Brew. Everyone now scores at least 60 points in the NBA, so maybe we need to have the top point scorers hierarchy apparently moving forward. The Lakers are good enough to beat the Warriors in double overtime. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the More You Know Podcasting Network. But with that, I really want to thank Vinny. I want to acknowledge Rod. I want to thank Chris, and I want to thank everybody for listening and viewing. We really appreciate you. And that has been the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan You Knows Podcasting Network. In the ring with Jimmy, Vinny, Rod, and Chris.
Everybody just needs to understand that Roman Reigns is what he is, okay? You have to understand that sometimes the northerly winds blow weather into your area that you didn't want, okay? There's jet streams that make rain showers happen, okay? And Roman Reigns has dominated the WWE for 3.5 years, and he will continue, and you need to start dealing with it.
Nah. Goodbye, net. Yeah.